Hello everybody, we are excited to bring to you the new UTB Teachers Notes. Together with me is Brother Sam and Brother Peter James.
Hi everyone.
So Sam, tell us what's new about the new UTB Teachers Notes.
Okay, so let's look at the notes for a moment. We'll kickstart by looking at what we originally have in our own notes, which is the guidelines. Okay, not much changes have been made for the guidelines, except for the fact we place a segment here to take note for the teacher so that they will not forget to state the guidelines as they are starting their UTB.
Yes, now, I think for the first few lessons, they have a tendency to forget about talking about the guidelines, and I think guidelines are so important to facilitate the productivity of the lesson.
Okay. Right, but there's something new that we added on to UTB as well, is this thing called lesson objectives.
Yes.
Now, we have two types of objectives. We have the primary objective and the secondary objective. Now, for the primary objective, if you have one student, ideally you should have maybe one or two objectives only.
Okay.
Now, what are secondary objectives then? If you are teaching a class and you have different students whereby they are of different levels of understanding, or maybe there are different stages of their Christian walk, now you have secondary objectives to help the more advanced students to be able to learn a different thing. So we will not recommend secondary objectives if you only have one student, because too many objectives will confuse the student. Okay, so one or two is definitely more than enough.
Okay. Primary objectives are actually what we used to call foundational objectives.
Yes.
And then our secondary objectives are what we call advanced objectives.
Yes.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Let's talk about the outline for a moment. Pastor, you want to say anything?
Okay. You know, as you notice, right, the whole new UTB Teachers Notes, right? What do you first see that's different?
I mean, personally myself, having looked through the notes itself, I feel it's a bit more concise, more structure to it. You know, it's a lot easier flow to it as a teacher itself. So I mean, these are the ones that I've noticed so far.
How do you like the design?
Oh, definitely love it, man. Love it.
It's clean. It's the way it's designed is clean, and yet there's a lot of symbols. I like pictures a lot.
Right.
It makes the whole notes come alive.
Right.
Okay. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the lesson outline. Okay. Lesson outline. You know, again, lesson outlines are very important to give you an overview of the whole entire lesson. So it helps the teacher know, like from section A to section B, what they'll be covering. Don't rush. There's a flow to it. And I think that's very important, because sometimes as teachers, we have a tendency to be impatient and not build the case up.
Correct.
Okay. So sometimes we will just rush through the details and cannot wait.
Right.
But the whole purpose of the outline is to build your case slowly.
Yes.
And again, what I like about these notes is the fact that there is a page number.
Systematic. It's more
Yeah,
systematic.
it's systematic. It's page 3. You know, if you want to jump, you go straight right in. You don't have to flip and wonder what
Where am I?
Yeah, where am I and stuff like that.
Okay, so now we're going to look at the next segment, which is called the new charts. Now, if you notice in this segment that...
Wait, you mentioned chart.
Yes, we have new charts. And let me show you what the new charts look like. And it's found at the back of your notes. Okay, you can refer to your student. For example, for this case, is chart 1, lesson 1, 1 out of 4. Okay?
Look at that.
Okay, as a teacher, this is going to help you a lot, because I used to have to go to Google to find pictures that were relevant or useful, but this is standardized, it's good, it's informational. I love this.
Right, and I don't need to cut and paste and,
Right.
and you know, to suit my teacher's
Right.
notes. I have to come up with my own PowerPoint, but this beautiful, is modern, it's contemporary. Again, let's thank Brother Mark Young for doing such a wonderful job. Yay!
Blessed be that man. Blessed be that man.
And the
Let's
good,
pray for you, man. Hallelujah.
now, the good thing about this UTB charts is that you have students that have difficulties just staring at words.
Okay.
And we realize that some students actually respond to pictures better than just looking at a bunch of words. So these
Especially
UTB
the
charts...
older folks.
Yes, and this is kind of very useful for them. Okay, so let's go back to our... back to where the chart was originally, okay, where we found the chart at, and let's turn to this segment called the keys.
Right.
Okay, now we've been talking a lot about keys in our old UTB notes, but one of the things that I know, Peter, I don't know about you, you were teaching a lot of UTBs. How did your students find writing the sentences for the keys?
Okay, from personal experience itself, I always felt the keys are slightly too long.
Okay.
And the students can get a bit distracted by getting the right key down, writing a lot. And sometimes they may have difficulty spelling the word. It could be a language barrier. So these are some of the factors that can be a hindrance or an issue.
Okay, so all the students that have been struggling to write your keys, we hear you out, we know what you're struggling with. So we decided for this new set of UTB notes that we kind of reduce the number of words that you need to write.
Right.
So for example, key number 1, instead of writing everything, the Bible is the inspired word of God, all you need to do is write just 2 or 3 words, the word of God.
Awesome.
And this will be a common trend throughout our UTB, whereby the student just need to write 1 or 2 points for our keys, which we know are the key principles of that particular section or segment.
Very good.
Now, another thing that we have added as well, as you see here, note to teacher, right? That there are some segments whereby we put a lot more information into it. Sometimes as a teacher, you have to filter out things that you want to give to your student, because we kind of put more in the notes that you need, so that whatever the student level is, you just pick and choose the examples you want to provide to illustrate your point.
Right.
And I want to let all the teachers know, notice this, the teachers' notes will always carry more information.
Yeah.
And sometimes 1.5 hours, right, is not enough. So you want to quickly glance through it. So you be wise about time management in every segment as well.
Yes.
And I think it's very important that we break up into segment, and you need to plan, like this segment, you need 10 minutes or so to cover this, and once you've gone past that limit, you want to maybe shorten down the rather, non-important segments.
Yes.
Okay.
Just
So,
make sure that
yeah.
everything will link back to your objective.
Yes.
Depends on how you write your objectives, you choose the content to fit that your direction.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so let's go to the back of the notes, and we're going to check out this thing called the summary of the keys. Now, at the end of your UTB, you are going to be able to look at this summary, and you will present to your student once again the different keys that you have gone through with them, kind of like a recap, because sometimes after 1.5 hours, the student may forget what has been taught earlier on, okay? And then after that, once they're done with the summary of the keys, they will then go to this thing called reflection questions. And as a teacher, we want to know whether we have truly met our objective.
Very
and
good.
the only way to find out is to ask questions.
Very good,
You know, and the students repeat back what you want to hear. Then you know, okay, I met my objective or not. And another thing that we also put in there is, what is one personal action step? That means we want the student to be able to apply what they learn. Because when we come to later lessons, where, like for example, lesson 8 and 9 on water baptism or receiving the Holy Ghost, we want them to get into the habit of not just hearing the word, but also obeying and applying what they heard as well. Okay.
Very good. And again, in every UTB, we want to eliminate fear.
Yes.
So sometimes the students are finding it hard to recap. So by going through the summary, you're not putting them on a spot, and therefore they can really sit down, relax, and not let fear be the motivator of not answering correctly.
Right.
So again, we will help them summarize it, and then they have to see whether what stood out to them. Okay, so this is another way for us to be repetitious in our teaching. Okay.
Now we want to come to the final section of our notes called the modular section. Maybe I'll let Pastor explain why we have this section in the first place.
Okay, the reason why we have this modular section is because, there are many times students will come with questions concerning to things that I think deserve an answer. In fact, Bishop Ellis once said this to me, truth can stand investigation.
Right.
Okay, so we add in more facts, to help teachers to have, first of all, to be equipped to answer those questions. Okay, maybe Sam, you'd like to give us an overview of this lesson 1 modular section.
Okay, so for example, for lesson 1, maybe some students who want to be go further in depth, maybe on the scientificness of the Bible, how is there any evidence or proof that this Bible is true, we kind of included more of information. For
Yes.
example, the first segment is about interesting facts about the Bible.
Right.
And these are some information that for some students, it may not matter to them at all. But for others who are maybe they are more of an advanced level, or they're more curious to study more, they would be able to access the modular sections and to find out this information. We also have, for example, additional facts on scientific evidence. Now, for myself, I'm not really a science person, so this part doesn't really interest me. But for some students, they want to know how does science back up the Bible.
Right.
So the modular section gives teachers an option of what information they want to pull out for that particular student, so that they can go back and maybe read it up for themselves as well when they go home. Okay, so that's kind of what the modular
Right,
section
and I
is
like
about.
it the fact that they have a lot of what I call that, citations or where you got that information so that
Yes.
they go hunt themselves.
Right. Okay, because we want to be credible with our facts and information. Okay, so that's kind of what the modular section is about.
Thank you.
Thank you.